So how we're going to handle this today, guys, is we're going to get a little info from all the composers on how they got into the industry, exactly what they think of the whole gaming industry and music, and how it makes us feel while we're playing these games. Because obviously, without that, you wouldn't get that feeling. You'd be playing something a little blank. So I'm going to throw it off to them, and then we're going to grab a couple questions from you. And again, please stop by the booth for some autographs and questions, and to get some photos with these guys. All right? So I think we're gonna throw it over here. I'm gonna let Greg start first and give you a little information on how he got into the industry and how his feelings of it, and how he's been dealing with it. All right?
My story is likely to be unique because I really was not a gamer early on, and I had done a TV show called Firefly. And Naughty Dog was making a demo for E3 for the start of the Uncharted series. And they called me and they said, would you be interested in doing it? And I said, I really don't think so. It's not anything I know. And you should, not that I don't want to work. I mean, I want the work, but I want someone to do you a good job. So you need someone who really understands what it is that you need. And they said, well, come on and give it a shot. And I did. And I look back now, and thank God I did not throw that opportunity away, because it has been so fun for me. But I never tried to get into the industry. The industry just found me. Writing for games is so much fun when you have a team of people who are trying to do something so special. And I gotta say, Naughty Dog is really my only experience. They tried so hard on Uncharted 2 to make the player feel as though they were in a movie. So it was not just gameplay. It was not just music, it was not just graphics. It was driven by a storyline and really good actors, so that hopefully the experience was fun in the gameplay sense, but was also fun in the story sense, so that you felt like you were immersed in a story that had a start, had characters that you cared about, and had a story arc that took you on a unique journey. Of course, I can't say if it struck you as that way, but that was their intent, and I consider myself very, very lucky to be working in this industry. I'm thrilled.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to bring Sean into this. Sean, again, with Black Ops. How did you get into the video game industry? Was Black Ops your first forte into that, or did you start somewhere else?
My first video game was True Crime Streets of LA back in 2003 for Activision. And, I had come from television and the theatrical movie world and had never scored for a game before. And so it was new to me, and I was really not a gamer much at all. My brother-in-law was an art director over at Lexaflux at Activision. And he had given some of my music to the head of the company, named Peter Morwick. And he was familiar with my work from Buffy and some of the films I had done, and liked my music a lot, and asked me to do a couple of cutscenes. So I scored a couple of the cutscenes, and they seemed to like it. And what they did, which was interesting, they had everybody in the company vote on who they wanted to score in the game, and they had a few other demos, and most everybody voted for me to do it, and that's how I got it. It was just a great experience. I really loved working on it. And you had the great talents of Christopher Walken and also Gary Oldman was a voice in that as well. So it was very much like doing a film, but a little more fun, different type of people than you have in the film industry.
Very good. Now, Inon, we're going to talk with you now. The Dragon Age series, I played a little bit of the first games. The music held quite a bit of strength in that game. It kind of got you, it got you into the game. There was a lot of feeling with it. So I want to know, how did you step into the whole video game market? Was it an accident, or were you looking into it?
It was very, very much accidental. In 1996 through 2000, I worked at Fox Family Channel. I wrote about 200 episodes for Power Rangers, Beetleborgs, Digimon, Excaflone, you name it. And at some some point, 1997, there was a voice, very deep voice, calling me through my telephone and has said, "Hello, would you like to compose music for a video game?" The name of the gentleman was Bob Rice, and he, so far until today, is my manager. He's a great guy, but I said, "No, I'm sorry, I'm not a gamer, not interested." And that was it. But lucky enough, the guy was very, very persistent. So he kept on calling and sending demos and sending that, and eventually I got convinced, and I'm so lucky I did. Since then I did, I think, close to now 50 games, including all the Fallout series, Crysis, all the Dragon Age series, Rift, EverQuest, a lot.
Now, Garry, I can't say enough about the BioShock franchise, let alone what we hear when we're playing that game. I mean, how did you get into that? I mean, how did BioShock fall into that?
Well, I really got it. If to go back in my history, I got into the video game industry twice. Got out of it once. I mean, in the mid-90s, a friend of mine started working at a company called Philips Interactive, which they had their own platform called CDI Technology. Philips Interactive made games for that technology. And so I actually scored some games in the mid-90s, early Game Club Player, and had one of the first orchestral scores for a video game. But then when that company went out of business, I just continued working. I was working as a film and TV composer. And video game music wasn't all that interesting in the mid-90s. But then in 2004, I had an agent who actually just sent my resume over to THQ. And someone saw it on the fax machine. It was my girlfriend's roommate in college, literally. They said, "Oh, I know him. You should listen to his music." So they did, and I ended up getting hired for a band called Destroy All Humans. That was just serendipity. When they told me about this game, they said, "Well, it's the 1950s, and they want this sort of retro Bernard Herrmann, the day the Earth stood still kind of." So I said, "That's great." And they said, "Would you do a demo?" And I said, "No, I don't know." I said, because I sent them what I thought was just right in their Bernard Herrmann-esque music. So but they hired me anyways, and which was very fortunate for me. And the audio director I worked on on that project, she went on to Irrational and to do BioShock. And she said, "Oh, we've got to hire Garry because I think he's a wonderful composer." And so it was really one thing led to the next, and because the folks at Irrational Chemistry didn't know what it was. And so that was a great opportunity. BioShock was really interesting. I mean, all the projects I've worked at, I've never been asked to do something as intriguing as that and given so much creative license. So that was really just luck, and then I think everyone liked what I did. So that led to other opportunities as well. So luck plays a part in all this.
I think skill plays a lot with it too. I'm just gonna say. Our last composer again, Mr. Kevin Sherwood, who's also tied with the Black Ops series and design zombies. Kevin, how did you get into the video game business with the music?
I may be the only person here who intended to go into games. I think due to the fact of all the classes I dropped out of because of playing Warcraft 3 back in college, I needed to do something that I knew, and I heard that you could be a game tester in LA, and that seemed almost impossible. Like, you can make money playing games. I'm like, okay. So I left that night when I found out, and like $1,000 in my pocket out to LA. And, they actually didn't accept my resume to be a game tester, and I called the lady, and I had to go through voicemail to find her name, and I told her that she had called me and I missed her call, which was bending the truth a little bit. And so they called me in for an interview, and then I just started telling people that I wanted to get into audio. And eventually I had a guy named David Wanderhar who heads up the multiplayer for Treyarch, and he helped me out. Got into audio, and then I didn't think I'd ever be doing any music again, but at one point on World at War, Sean graciously enough allowed me to do some guitar arrangements of his pieces, and learned a lot from him, and got some music into the game. And then a couple guys in the company started making a mode called Nazi Zombies, which is a
just a hit now, man.
can you imagine what the bosses thought when they heard that?
I would have loved to be in that room for that pitch.
So, but everyone loved it. It turned out to be a big hit, and I thought, you know, it should be a cool song when you die. It's a weird mode, you know, so let's do something weird. And I wrote a little riff to it, and that was it. But then my boss said, you know, you should turn that into a whole song. And I'm like, well, who am I gonna get to sing it? And then Elena walks in the room like, hey guys, I'm a producer. And I'm like, okay, well, who's her? So, like, this literally happened in like a course of like a week and a half. Like, I had to write something from nothing, and then it went out, and the community really liked it. So that allowed me to get away with doing that same process a couple of times. And then I met you, and now I'm here.
Now I'm gonna ask you a blanket question, and I want to go ahead and jump in on it. What are your feelings of the future of music video games? I mean, obviously, going with the use of iTunes and a lot of the music sharing services and buying services on the internet, these soundtracks are actually turning into we just want the soundtrack. We're buying the soundtrack to listen to on our iPods and our Zooms and whatever other MP3 players we have. What are your feelings on that? I mean, obviously you guys are putting the work in. I mean, there's a lot of work involved in these soundtracks, and how do you feel about that? Is it kind of weird to you that I wrote for video game and now people are just are buying this audio from us, or buying the CD, or buying the music off of the iTunes?
I don't think you write with the intention of selling music on iTunes. First of all, you know, it's not a big income stream for me. But that said, I mean, it's great. But you write for the game. You write the best music you can for the project you're hired for. And then if there's a demand frankly, it doesn't cost very much. It used to cost a lot of money to put on a CD. And nowadays, it doesn't cost very much at all. You can basically upload that music to iTunes and Amazon MP3, and it will almost no cost associated with it because the music already exists. So it's easy, and now it's just so easy, and the access is so. Although, if you search probably any one of our names, the free MP3 download is one of the first things that comes. So file sharing is still takes a lot of those.
Well, here's a caveat as well. For guys in our business, resources are everything. If you work in television, which has small budgets, you're liable to do a synth score that has 2 or 3 live players on it, and the time constraints it's a quick turnaround. So you have maybe 4 days to write, then you have to mix it, get it on the air, turn around and do it again. In video games, the budgets have grown exponentially.
I mean, you're working on movie budgets now.
Not the hugest movie budgets. I have 80 guys on Uncharted, which is a lot of guys. A big movie budget might be 100 guys, but 80 guys is enough to sound really good. So you have time to make something that you're proud of. And I'm glad that these things have a life of their own, because you never take for granted when you have those kind of resources. You never take it for granted. You never know if that'll be ongoing and you'll have the same resources or more 10 years from now, or if not. So you just be thankful that someone is giving you the money and paying the bills so that you can write something to be performed by really good players. And how lucky is that for us? And remember, when you started in the 90s, I don't even know what resources, the game engines are changing so drastically that they can now do something sophisticated that they never could do years ago. So they're able to use the music in a cool way, in a sophisticated way, because the engine allows you to do all these things. So we're really at the advent of something really interesting.